A lot has changed since the last time you saw me. New apartment, new hair, and I've literally just decided that this doesn't need to be like a career thing. I just want an outlet to be able to talk about books, so the inconsistent posting is probably going to continue, but when I feel like I want to make a video, I'm going to make a video. Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about books that I'm unhauling. I have so many unread books on my TBR, and that is going to be my next video, is every book on my TBR, because someone needs to hold me accountable for buying all these books. But anyways, today I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm getting rid of. Some of them I have read, some of them I haven't, and I will be going through every single reason for why I'm getting rid of them. There is 12 books that I have that I'm giving away. I'm gonna let my friends go through them first, and then I will be taking them to Central Book Exchange, which is a local bookstore here in Utah. They give you like points if you donate books. Love it. 10 out of 10. Definitely would recommend visiting if you are from Utah or if you plan on visiting at any point. But yeah, let's just get right into the video. So the first book I'm starting with is one that I've read, and it is Hookie by Miriam Bonastor Tour. I read this when I was in a graphic novel phase after reading the Heartstopper books, and I thought I was gonna love it. It is really cute. It's a middle grade like Halloween-y witch graphic novel about like these two kids that miss the bus to their like witching school, and it only comes like once a year, kind of like if you miss the Hogwarts Express, and then they go through like this crazy adventure, and there's like a little bit of politics in it, but since it's middle grade, it's not that much. I thought it was pretty cute. I just know that I won't reach for it again and think that somebody else would love it more than I did, and so I'm gonna be getting rid of it. No bad feelings, no negative thoughts about it, just not necessarily my cup of tea, and I don't think I'll be picking up any more graphic novels unless they are like extremely good or like the next volumes of Heartstopper, because I really did enjoy those books. This one I rated 3 out of 5 stars. Just didn't like love it, but I definitely would recommend it to someone who likes graphic novels or books that have this vibe. The next book I'm going to unhaul is not going to come as a shock to anyone, and that is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. This book was the biggest money grab I have ever experienced in my life. I only got 70 pages into this before DNFing and deciding I was never going to read it. You guys have seen the It Ends With Us vlog I made. That was a really moving book to me, and after reading like literally every single Colleen Hoover book, as you can see behind me, I think that I'm not a fan of Colleen Hoover, especially after reading books by authors I like much more than Colleen Hoover, and so I'm getting rid of this. The breastfeeding thing was weird.
What?
And also, I had just read Verity, which in the bonus chapter also has a weird thing with breastfeeding.
Stop it. Get some help.
And I just decided that Colleen Hoover's work was just not for me. So hopefully someone who is a Colleen Hoover stan that doesn't have this will be able to pick it up. Just not my vibe. The next book that I'm going to be talking about is The World Wasn't Ready for You by Justin C. McKee. This is a collection of like technological sci-fi stories, I believe, or like monsters. I may give this a try before unhauling it, but I just have no interest in it. I'm on the HarperCollins publishing like PR list. Sorry, was pausing for Winston to finish his tantrum. I'm on the HarperCollins publishing PR list, and they never send me the books that I actually ask for. They only ever send me like the ones nobody does. And so I'm assuming someone would like this more than I did. I took a sci-fi class this summer that had a book similar to this, and so maybe I will try to read it before unhauling it, but right now I'm leaning towards unhauling, looking at the stack of books next to me that I haven't read. So this would definitely be last on my TBR or is getting unhauled. The next book that I'm getting rid of is Birds of California by Katie Cantugno. I guess I have another one of her books, but I can't remember which one it is. This book is alright. It was, my local Barnes & Noble was closing, and so I went there and I was like, oh, I've seen this book on TikTok, and I bought it, and that is the case with a couple of the books in this, and she just didn't do it for me. I read this book, and it is kind of like the idea of like if iCarly got a reunion and the main star of the show, like Miranda Cosgrove, like had like a crazy mental breakdown after the show ended, and now they want her to come back, but her reputation is like ruined, but she's like rebuilt her life, and she had like a weird fling with like her co-star. I don't know. It was okay. I definitely did not relate to it at all, and I didn't think it was very good. I also thought it was really rushed. It's literally like 250 pages, I think, so definitely not my fave. If you want a book that's like similar vibes, The Reunion by, I like actually can't see it, I can't remember who wrote it, but I'll put it right here, is much better and almost exactly the same plot, I would say, but I liked The Reunion a lot better than I liked Birds of California. So skip this one. Hopefully someone will like it if they find it at the bookstore, or maybe one of my friends will like it more than I did. This book has been on my TBR since July or June of 2021, and it is currently almost November of 2023, so over 2 years. So I'm getting rid of it finally. But that book is Mindhunter by John Douglas and Mark Bolshaker. This is a very, very popular true crime series on Netflix, and I am attempting to read a true crime book right now. This one just I've had it for too long, and I always say, like, every year I'm like, I'm gonna read more nonfiction. Pretty sure this was on my 2023 TBR, but this book is going away. I cannot simply hold on to this for any longer. Someone else would love this book way more than I've even paid attention to it. So hopefully someone will find this and love her and give her a new home, because I simply cannot keep looking at this book on my shelf and feeling bad about having it. I've never read it, and I don't know if it's good, so hopefully I'm not getting rid of a gem. I tried watching the Netflix series and I thought it was boring, so this may be a blessing in disguise. But yeah, basically I've had her for 2 years. She needs to be given a new home. The next book I have is The Farewell Tour by Stephanie Clifford. I think this is like a story about like an up-and-coming country star or something along those lines, but this is another arc that I got sent, and it was one that I did not sign up for as well. I liked the cover, so I kept it for a while, but I know that this is a fairly new book and a fairly popular book, so I figured I should get rid of her and let someone have her other than myself. I look at all of these books that I'm unhauling, and I'm like, maybe I should keep them, but I'm literally never going to reach for this or read it, so if I sacrifice it and I don't get it if I sacrifice it and later in life want to read it, I'll just read it on like Libby or buy a copy. At least this one was free. But yeah, it's like literary fiction, and the only literary fiction I really read is Taylor Jenkins Reid or Hanya Yanagihara, so this is probably going away. But if you've read it, let me know if I should keep it. I'm gonna take these books sometime in the next week in case anybody in the comments is like, you need to keep this book. So this is her, The Farewell Tour by Stephanie Clifford. No hate, no shade, simply just never asked to get it. The next book I'm going to talk about has some hate and has some shade, and that is You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thau. I think that's how you said that, or Tao. This book was alright. I got this book on Libby. My favorite thing to do, because I love reading on my Kindle, is request books on Libby that I have the physical copies of, because then I'm like getting through my TBR, but I can also read on my Kindle. I actually think I read this on Kindle Unlimited, so if you're thinking about reading it and you have Kindle Unlimited, I would recommend reading it through that instead of buying it, because I wish I hadn't bought this book. This book is about a girl whose boyfriend dies in a car accident, and she's able to talk to him over the phone, and it was alright. I thought there was going to be more depth to it. I thought the ability to talk to him over the phone was going to be like a more fantastical element. Obviously it's like really short, but it really was just a book about young grief, and I have gone through a lot of grief in my life, and I simply just did not relate to this book. I thought the main character was low-key insufferable, and it was just boring. Like, I just genuinely thought it was boring. There wasn't really anything interesting about it. I think if they had dove more deeply into the fact that they can like communicate through the phone even though he's dead, I think that would have been more cool, but they didn't, and it was just kind of like, well, what the fuck is happening then if there's nothing explained? I don't know. I just thought it was boring, and maybe some whiny 15-year-old would like it more than I did. The next book I'm going to talk about, I genuinely have no idea what this is about, but I was in a weird phase, and I also bought this book when my Barnes & Noble was closing last year, and so someone needs to never let me go to like a huge sale without a list in mind. This is the Chandler Legacies by Abdi Nazmian. I clearly butchered that, so feel free to cancel me in the comments. so apologetic about that. Don't know why I didn't try again or Google it beforehand. I don't know how to say that. I'm really sorry. But I think it's just like about like these kids in a boarding school and their professor tells them to write their truths. That's what it says. So I think it's just like a like fiction book about kids at a boarding school, probably relatable for teenagers. Thought the cover was cute, and I love books about boarding schools, so I was kind of in for a minute. But I have not looked at this book or even thought about reading it, other than to complain about the fact that it is just another book on my TBR. So we're changing that. If you like young adult books, maybe this will be good. I've never read it, so there's no negativity, tea, or shade against it. I'm just getting rid of her. The next book I've had since that same Barnes & Noble sale, and I don't know why I picked it up. It never really interested me. Excuse me. Also, a lot of short stories just are my fave. But that is Blackout. It is the story about like the blackout in New York City that has like it's like written by like a bunch of different Black authors. Angie Thomas, who wrote The Hate You Give, is one of the authors in this, and so I bought it. Oh, and Nicola Yoon, who wrote Instructions for Dancing, which is one of my favorite books. I just don't know why I bought this. Like, I think it was just because it was really cheap that I bought it. It was like $6, but I just have no interest in reading it. I'm sure someone else would love it, and yeah, simply no tea, no shade. I love the idea of a bunch of Black authors coming together to write a book, which I think is also why I bought it, but I would rather buy a book by a Black author that's more up my alley in my reading genre than read something by a Black author that I know I'm not gonna like and then be like, oh, I don't like this. So giving this a new home for sure. She is short, she is little, she is going to someone better than me. Okay, the next book that I have, I think I started trying to read and just found it very boring, but that is Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt. I've never like fully read this, so this is another book on my TBR that's just on my TBR. I think that I got this on a buy one get one 50% off table and was like, I should read more thrillers, but in reality, like, I don't really love thrillers, so I don't know why I keep doing that to myself. But it's like about a haunted house, I think. It does have trans representation in it, which I think is one of the reasons that I picked it up, but I just found it boring and not interesting. And yeah, I think she just like has a traumatic event at this haunted house and then has to go back. I'm not necessarily 100% sure what this is about, but it has been on my TBR for too long, probably like at least a year, and I simply just don't want to read it, which kind of sucks, but I'm gonna try giving this to one of my friends who likes thrillers and also like loves supporting the LGBT community. Not that I don't, just like I think they would enjoy this because I'm getting rid of it. So maybe I'll give this to them and see if they like it more than I did or like more than I tried to. But once again, there's so many books on my TBR, and to keep something just because I have it, I'm trying to Marie Kondo my books. Like, if it did not give me joy, if it does not spark joy to see it, I'm not gonna be reading it or keeping it. So that is this. The last book on my TBR, or on my unhaul video, is probably one of the worst books I've read this year, and so this one is some tea and some shade. That is Five Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. I bought this at Central Book Exchange, and I will be giving it back to them, which is funny, but the thing about this book is it was genuinely, like, so boring. Like, okay, so basically what happened is 5 strangers are stranded in an airport, and they all need to make it back to the same city. Excuse me. And so they decide that they're going to rent a car and drive it all the way back to the city that they need to go to. And I genuinely thought the idea of it was cool, but it just didn't really make any sense to me. I thought that like the threat was going to be outside the car because there was nothing to tell you that like something bad was going to happen if she got in this car. And then all of a sudden, like, the main character starts getting like these weird notes left to her, and like you get some perspective of like the killer, and all of the people in the book are just kind of insufferable, and also it was very predictable towards the end, and it was just really rushed. Like the reveal of the like bad guy, like no one dies, but like the attempted murderer, I guess, was just so anticlimactic and just not fun. And I just definitely like hated this book, and I can't believe I read the whole thing. It feels like a genuine waste of time with so much peace and love to Natalie D. Richards. I'm sure that you slay, but I'm sure this book is pretty popular, so she's getting money no matter what. But yeah, definitely not a recommendation. All right, guys, those were all the books that I'm unhauling for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm gonna try to never have to do a book unhaul again. I've been reading a lot on my Kindle. I've literally read 8 hockey romances this year on my Kindle, except for Icebreaker, just like right there. I read as a physical copy. Oh my god, my window is open and my neighbor just got home and I looked out the window. There was just a person. I literally think I just shit my pants. Oh my god, my heart is racing. Anyways, sorry that my dog is the most annoying dog on the planet, but he's really cute and he just like he just wants to protect. But anyways, those are the books I'm unhauling. If you live nearby, go check out, see if you want them. Also, if you're my friend and you're watching this video, text me. If one of the books interests you, like, please feel free to text me. I'll give it to you. Yeah, have a nice day. Yeah, sorry, I kind of forgot how to do this. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later. Have a great day. Mwah.